This quote comes from the description of a Roblox user who joined on July 16th, 2008. His name is Seil. He mainly developed games on Roblox. The only public game he has on his profile is Metroid Prime 4. He'd continue to play Roblox, but then he disappeared, never to log in again. Fast forward 16 years, a YouTube channel was created named Seildirectory. The purpose of this channel was to archive Seil's games and his legacy on Roblox. The person running the channel goes through Seil's hard drives, finding and recovering his old games. This is revealed to be a mistake. He finds things that were probably best forgotten, entering the darkest rabbit hole on Roblox, including games filled with secrets, ciphers to solve, and unlisted videos that can be found through the games. Let us begin with a fitting introduction, Seil. The entry opens with, the following video is some gameplay I found on Seil's computer while he still played Roblox. It was made sometime in late 2008, a few months before I lost contact with him until recently. The video cuts to the footage it mentioned. It's Seil, the account I spoke about before. Nothing eventful happens in the footage, but the owner of Seildirectory talks about Seil's backstory. Seil used to be online from 2008 to 2009. He used to show me a lot of his own games he would create at our Christmas gatherings. This gives us info that the owner of Seildirectory knows Seil in real life, hence why he has access to his computer. When I went back to explore some of these games, I found that only his Metroid one was up, not my personal favorite. This led me down a rabbit hole of trying to find some of these games I couldn't find anywhere online. After recent events, I was able to recover some of the game's files off his hard drive. This shows how he was able to access this old recording. The last thing he mentions is the purpose of the YouTube channel. This channel hopes to archive both my own adventure finding them and to honor Seil's legacy. This video mainly sets the stage for what's to come. It consists of videos archiving Seil's history and his attempt to recover his old lost games, and 2 days later we got exactly that. He was able to recover one of Seil's games. The name of the game is SNOWBALL BRAWL 1, a game that I've played on the channel before. The game was made on November 15th, 2008. This was his most popular game. It showed up on the Roblox front page at one point. He also looked through the Roblox forums to see if there was any mention of the game, which there is, except the user spelt it SNOWBALL BOSS. After the post went up, another user replied saying, "Please don't bring that guy up here. Enough creeps on here as is." This gives me the feeling that something is very wrong. He recovered the game's files and he is going to show us the gameplay. Here is SNOWBALL BRAWL 1. The game is just an old fighting game with different things throughout the map to battle with other players. Our player throughout the entry gives us a tour on what the game has to offer, the different areas, and so on. He then makes his way to a cabin labeled Seil's cabin. He tours the first room. It's a small arcade and living space. He does a couple of spins and then he moves on. He makes his way to the kitchen, but then something rather unusual happens. He hears static as he gets close to the bedroom. He makes his way in, then he sees this. This player crashes the game. Not sure why, but we'll possibly see this person in the future. The description of the video reads two things. The first thing is, was able to recover one of Seil's most popular games, SNOWBALL BRAWL 1, and the second one is a link to said game. Without further ado, let's explore SNOWBALL BRAWL 1 in its entirety. The first thing I did was go back under the cabin where I had previously. The teleporter takes you to a game called Brute Force. This sub-game has an unfinished building with a large hole in the middle. In the chat, it makes you say, "for the field," which is weird. To the right upon entering the building, there's a key that you can take. I guess that this is for the shed, but there is a gate that requires something to be done before opening it. Going into the hole, it teleports us to another sub-game called Less I Won't. The game is very dark. The camera is uncomfortably close to your avatar. The game has 4 sides, each having its own structure. Behind each one is a letter. We get the letters HELP, which spells help. The last time I played this sub-game, I gave up and left it as it was, but what I should have done is ask for help. Pretty clever, Seildirectory. The Morse code translates to, "The shed is where hope is key." Going back to the Brute Force game, saying hope in front of the gate opens it. Now we have access to the shed. Once we go inside, it takes us to another sub-game. This sub-game is titled Web Portal. The place is a normal Roblox happy home with a very glitched out sky. Going into the house, we see a computer on the ground. Going Going behind the computer, we'll fall down and we'll get to see a YouTube video ID. We'll get into this later. But this isn't the only thing in the web portal game. Walking behind spawn, you can see a black door. Walking through it, it will eventually teleport you to this room. There is Caesar cipher above the door which reads, "The path to hell is paved with bites." On the walls, there are 3 different colors. If you recall, the help tab had 3 different colors also, which match the colors here. After pressing them in this order, you are teleported to another subgame titled Content Deleted. You are in someone's bedroom. A user named Sean is spamming in chat. On the computer screen, we can see what was shown earlier of SNOWBALL BRAWL 1 being at the top of the games page. Leaving the bedroom, we come to find that we've been in the cabin the whole time. The sky is black, but then we see the player from the devlog 1 entry. Going up to the player, he says a few lines. "Await further prompts, I will be there with you." After that, it plays a really loud jump scare. On the jump scare screen, there is another YouTube video ID. Again, we'll get into this later. Going back into SNOWBALL BRAWL 1, there are various sentences and paragraphs that can be found around the map. The first one can be found when you go through a wall in the cabin. It reads lines from Franz Kafka's Metamorphosis. The second time we see sentences is behind one of the structures in the battle area. It reads, "Suffocated by bits, woken up in a labyrinth of digital plastic," again and again. The third and final time we see is on the side of a hill at the back of the map. It reads, "He does not see these. Keep it that way." It's almost like someone is trying to communicate with us, but without someone knowing. A code can be found in the bedroom. If you take this code and go to the mine and input the code, a wall will open, revealing a computer of a YouTube video ID of the next entry. This unlisted entry is very weird. The title of the video is translated to "Entomb." The music, wait, can I even call this music? Whatever it is, it sounds creepy as hell. The video slowly zooms into a computer. I can't seem to identify what user is on the screen, but then Sean, the user that was speaking to us before, appears over the screen. The camera zooms in on Sean and he begins to speak. "I never left. I couldn't leave. A burial of ambition, entombed in digital plastic. A jester jeers at the mundane, spectacle in the coliseum of their craft, all until they are buried in its ruin. Burn the directory, burn me down." Yeah, that video was super weird. Maybe we'll understand the video more by decrypting the cipher in the video's description. It reads, "I cannot make you understand. I cannot make anyone understand what is happening inside of me. I cannot explain it to myself. I was never gone." Maybe this Sean person is Seil, which could be our player's uncle. He lost contact with him and supposedly disappeared, but now this Sean person is saying that he never left. Maybe we'll understand this more in the future. In the meantime, let's move on. This video is another devlog for SNOWBALL BRAWL 1, this time adding a couple fixes and updates. Our player, as well as another player named Directory User 1, helped on this project as well. Directory User 1 joined 2 days before this entry's upload. He has a game alongside his account, but the description says it's not related, so I'll skip over it. The entry mentions some pretty cool stuff. They fixed some scripts and added a new mechanic, a special snowball. The rest of the video after this shows the 2 of them testing out the new update, but to be sure, I watched the whole video to make sure there was anything. Okay, there's nothing. This video was found behind the computer in the subgame web portal. The video's title translates to "The Dead Sing Medes." No idea what that means. We seem to be in the room from before. We see that the computer's been left unattended, but then the computer turns on, which is odd. It slowly boots up, and then we see a player on the screen. He begins to speak. The person looks to be Sean from before, but he mentions someone's name. Jake, which is the name of our main character. The player on the screen repeatedly says, "Turn off the computer," and "Let me die," which is weird. After that, the video ends abruptly. The description of the video has more Caesar cipher. It reads, "How do they know about Sean? He was never meant to be able to manipulate the game's code. How the hell can he still communicate to others behind my back?" From what we got, I think Sean was messing with the game's code. I have no idea why, but maybe Sean doesn't want Jake to archive things about the Seil account. Like I said before, please don't bring that guy up here. Enough creeps on here as is. So there's something up with Seil. Let's move on to the next entry. This unlisted video was found at the jump scare screen in red text. The title of the video is yet again more Caesar cipher. It translates to Genesis. This video is 100% one of the weirdest videos I've ever seen based on Roblox. Just see for yourself. Like, what the hell is this? At first, Sean is lying down on the ground, but he eventually gets up. The background music sounds like it's reversed. I unreversed it, and this is how it sounds. If anyone knows the origin of this, it would be awesome. Sean gets up and someone begins to speak to him. Arise. No breath is needed for your anguish. It shows just what was speaking to Sean. It's a spawn point logo, which is really weird. This is where your consciousness will morph. Plastic is your skin, each code a nerve. Time does not matter. Texture does not rust or rot. Only is fitting a labyrinth aligned in your neglect. But worry not, for your legacy is eternal. Sleep not matter when the servers are awake. It then shows Sean's face. It's all glitched and it's very creepy. The camera pans out and that's the end of the video. What the hell just happened? The description of the video is more Caesar cipher. This channel loves ciphers. It reads, then his head sank to the floor of its own accord, and from his nostrils came the last faint flicker of his breath. This is another quote from Metamorphosis, which is a repeating theme at this point. This is some weird culty stuff. To be safe, I'm gonna move on to the next entry. Okay, after the super weird content in the last entry, this video seems to be somewhat normal. It's a pirate movie. Wow, there doesn't seem to be anything wrong with this video. There's another cipher that flashes on the screen for one frame. It reads, where am I? His name in this video is Seil, so I'm just gonna call him Seil. Seil runs off the shot, but then something really weird happens. What is happening? What the hell is happening? In the credits, it thanks only one person. Their name is Nil, which is odd. After that, it's the end of the video. The description of the video links us to a Roblox profile. It takes us right back to Seildirectory's account. I don't know what the point of that was, but okay. The word Nil mentioned in the credits brings us to our next entry. This unlisted video was discovered in the captions of the last entry, but before we talk about this unlisted entry, I want to talk about the background of the Roblox pirate movie. It takes place in a location that we haven't seen before, on a pirate's boat in the water. In this unlisted video, we get a completely different angle of the map. This entry has a lot to offer, so let's not waste any time and begin. The very first part of the video is a hexadecimal string. It translates to, my flesh is temporary, my wires are infinite, a soul and stillness can coexist. I had a tough time decoding this because of the damn glitches that disrupt the video. The camera switches to something else. It seems to be slowly fading in, which is weird. On top of the hexadecimal cipher is Morse code. My favorite! Because I couldn't be bothered to do the Morse code, I got this from the comments. It reads, this hard drive seems to be rotting 303 and 305. I haven't been able to fix this thing for months now. I don't know. Some bad data might come out of it, but at least I'd have this thing of ours preserved. As the image slowly fades in, we come to realize, like I said before, it's another angle of the pirate location. There's a ship right there. Wow. Maybe we'll see this game in the future. Oh my god, would you shut up? 2 days before the video was uploaded, another user joined Roblox and was added to Jake's friends list. The user is Directory User 2. I guess they ran out of ideas for names. It was a cool entry. Let's move on. Hell yes, another developer log. We get to see what the map is from the last entry. It's an upcoming game made by Jake. It's titled Sail the High Seas, and in this video, Jake is speaking.
Hey guys, Seildirectory here. Yeah, so I haven't been online for a little while now.
Jake and other two people, one named Clyde, Directory User 1, and Rebecca, Directory User 2, have been working on this game for quite some time now. He goes to test out the game, but something is wrong. The avatar is all glitched out, which is weird. He's been having issues developing, which is why it's taking so long. The rest of the test run is Jake going through the game. No issues, or so I thought. I then remembered, yes, this is an ARG, and everything that seems normal isn't normal. So it wasn't surprising when Jake found something in the game that he didn't put. It's a black brick on one of the islands. When he first sees it, he gets shaken up about it. After that, Jake ends the video. So yeah, that's the entry. It may seem like that this is all the video has to offer, but if you look close enough for a couple seconds, in the player list, another YouTube video ID shows up. This video takes place right after the last entry. Jake stops recording and then the video glitches. Something happened here during this glitch. This is probably why we're still seeing what's going on even though he stopped recording. He goes on to investigate the brick. He clicks on it and well, this speaks for itself.
What the f are you?
What the hell even happened? During the glitch, you can see something that could be decoded. It translates to, you have no one to blame anymore but yourself for your actions. You continue to play with matches until nothing but the charred husk of yourself remains. Do I continue to be your hostage, Jake? Or have you given me the keys? Okay, so he knows his real life name, and that's just perfect. This is Jake's reaction to this.
I'm fucking done with this. No, I'm fucking.
There is more in the description to decode. The cipher reads the following. He cries, why, oh why me, what misfortune have I earned? You have earned everything. Bathe in your tortured riches. Yeah, this video is really concerning, but let's just move on. In the last entry, right before the video glitched after clicking the script, a YouTube ID was visible for a short amount of time. That video ID leads to this video, Remembrance. The video begins with sounds of footsteps. An image of a house slowly fades in. The home could be Sean's or Jake's. This photo was taken in 2008. The next photo was taken a year later. It's of a snowy path leading to a forest. The third photo was taken the same day, just further up the path. Then, subtitles begin to appear. Do you think you know how it feels? Cheering at the dam's torment with glee. The servers stay awake when I say so. I guess this is a message for Jake from Sean. The last line, the servers stay awake when I say so, was also somewhat mentioned in the Genesis video. After that, it shows this really weird image of this person. Then, that's the end of the entry. This is just a showcase of the Sail the High Seas theme song. Jake also mentions in the video's description saying, I know he's gonna mess with the video somehow, which he does. The music just cuts out, nothing plays, just silence. Then it begins to play something else, some ambient type music. The screen goes black, then it plays a phone call, and it's Jake.
Hey, I saw that you called. I'm not trying to ignore you.
He's sending someone a voicemail telling them to call him. As this is happening, it shows a nice photo. Nice! And just below the image is another YouTube video ID for the next entry. As I said before, this is a short unlisted video. It was shown under the image in the last entry, and well, this video is just notes. Here's what's written. Another nightmare, but I shouldn't be surprised at this point. I am quickly approaching the point of no return, or maybe I passed it a while ago. I don't care which is the case anymore. I was stranded in a foggy ocean, alone with water filling my every breath, all aimlessly hoping I'd break the tension above the surface. It then flips to the next page. Even while fully submerged, I saw a boat pass by. Their passengers decapitated, but their gaze still pierced my nerves. I thought I was given mercy when their tides broke the tension and my bloated body surfaced, but in the distance, I saw him. He wasn't the vessel I knew, it was the body I left him with. A ring of thorns slashed and creased his head, with one of many piercing his eye. A substance like blood pooling it from the water. I was too scared to tell if I was being saved or skinned. It flips the page again to reveal what it was talking about. If you look at the character in the drawing, it kinda looks like Sean. After that, it flips to the last page saying, they're all gone. The entry ends with someone laughing, and that's it. If you look at the video's description, there is a very large hexadecimal cipher. It reads, to think that I am already living in his head again, the same bastard that had the nerve to threaten me, to hide away under a tall tale, to play God over my own scripts, my own code, now cowards away from his own computer because he has forgotten the extent to which his mistakes now lie. The creation of this channel was nothing more than a whipped lash to my heart, to every remaining nerve that placebos its way into my consciousness. First was a test, then was a sudden popularity, and now because of them, and because of you, I am stuck in a casket which no longer gives me the luxury of optimistic death. I know you are watching. I know you will find this. Stop. So this is a really short video, and honestly, I'm just hoping for things to die down. Oh my god, not again! It just jump scares the viewer and instantly throws information at them. We can see the spawn icon on the left. We've seen this thing many times already. The subtitles begin to show up and they say the following. There is a doctrine about the nature and place of the mind which is prevalent among theorists, to which most philosophers, psychologists, and religious teachers subscribed with minor reservations. Although they admit certain theoretical difficulties in it, they tend to assume that these can overcome without serious modifications being made to the architecture of the theory. Doctrine states that the doubtful expectations of the mentally incompetent and infants in arms, every human being has both a body and a mind. The body and the mind are ordinarily harnessed together, but after the death of the body, the mind may continue to exist and function. What is he talking about, dude? This has to be one of the weirdest videos on the channel, no doubt about it. But something super interesting did come out of this video. At the same time of this video being uploaded, there has been some activity on Directory User 2. By activity, I mean a brand new game titled Homesick. Let's go ahead and explore this game. Joining Homesick, we see that the game is very dark. The only source of light that we get is from the street lights. The first thing that we can discover is opening dev console using F9. It shows 3 different ciphers. They read, "Mom is gonna kill me, dude. I didn't notice it was this late. I'll see you after school." The next thing that we can find is a paper on the ground that shows yet again another cipher. It reads, "Rebecca, can you see me? Please, I'm here. It's Sean. I'm here." The next thing that I found was going down this road. It will play a jump scare showing Sean with the spawn rings around him. After this, if you walk along the road, you'll be able to hear a phone ringing. If you go towards it, you'll find a phone booth. When you get close, it begins to flash red. It begins to play creepy audio as well. I don't know what it's supposed to be, but then someone picks up the phone. It begins to play audio that sounds like a spectrogram. The spectrogram comes with this image. The last thing that's found here, if you walk around the perimeter of the forest, you'll eventually see some snow slightly lit up. Walking into the forest in this direction, you'll come across a gravestone that says the following: "In loving memory of Sean Dorothy, remembered by Clyde H. and Rebecca T, ridiculed by Jake C." That line from the last entry makes perfect sense now. Sean Dorothy is dead, but his mind is still functioning. We know that Jake's uncle is named Sean Ilinosh, so this is a different Sean. After this, it kicks you from the game, but the kick reason gives you a YouTube video ID of the next entry. This video is a phone call between Jake and Clyde. I guess Clyde was the person Jake sent a voicemail earlier. The conversation goes along the lines of this. Clyde tells Jake that the experiment was a complete failure. Clyde goes on to mention that Rebecca was developing the game Sail the High Seas, and one of the NPCs began speaking to her like a real human.
Rebecca called me this morning, telling me about that Sean NPC talked with her and was like a person.
But Jake has no idea what he means by this. Clyde says that the NPC brought up Sean, which is a sensitive topic for Rebecca. Like on the gravestone, it said, "Remembered by Clyde and Rebecca." Clyde thinks that Jake programmed the NPC to talk this way, but he never did this. Clyde tells him to
Listen.
What?
All you together. Real project.
and then hangs up the phone. Yikes, that's all I gotta say. Another devlog, and this time, the game Sail the High Seas has been released. But before we play the game, let's talk about this entry. This is an in real life video. It's an announcement from Jake saying, 1. The game has been released to the public. 2. He doesn't want to work on the game anymore. 3. He couldn't fix the multiplayer issue, so the game remains single player. And that's about it. The video cuts to black, and then 3 texts pop up on the screen. They read, "And I saw when the lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard, as it were the noise of thunder, one of the 4 beasts say, 'Come and see.'" Without further ado, let's play the highly anticipated Sail the High Seas. The amount of content in Sail the High Seas is insane. There are 7 badges in total, and they're all somewhat difficult to get. I will summarize the whole game in this section of the video. Sail the High Seas begins as a normal game. You spawn in a pirate ship, and you're able to do various tasks to get further in the game. For example, you can open up treasure chests for gold. This game seems to be normal at first, but then at one of the islands, if you look close enough, there's a camouflaged button on the side of the hill. Once you click this, you can make your way back to the pirate ship. Once you go down to the lower area, you will notice a computer is visible, like we've seen many times before. So you click it. Holy I forgot it was that loud. The sky goes dark and the music completely stops. Once you go to the island, there is a portal. A portal showing images of skulls. Once you go in, you'll be teleported to this forest area. Up ahead at the end of the path is a gate. You need to find 5 buttons across the map to open it. When you get to a proximity of a button, it will start to beep as so. I think. See? And it's this thing. Click that. After getting all 5 buttons, the gate will open. The area following this forest is quite complicated. If you walk forward, you'll come across a carpet and a basket. If you look inside, you will find another YouTube video ID. This video is titled Contact. This video was filmed by Rebecca. The video is playing copyrighted music, so I can't play the audio. So, I'm going to reenact her reaction to the information. What? What the fuck? What the fuck? A cipher shows up in the scripts. It reads, Rebecca, can you see me? Please, I'm here. It's Sean. I'm here. This is the same quote from Homesick. It's pretty basic. Sean is attempting to talk to Rebecca. This situation is most likely what Clyde was referring to earlier. That's pretty much all. Let's move on. You can click the studs on the carpet, which means that a certain combination is needed. To find this, you have to do the following. First, walk back to the left side of the forest. Here, you will find a shovel. Second, take the shovel out and go where the shovel beeps the most. The shovel is kind of like a metal detector. It will take you to a tree, which you break down. It will give you a gear with this title. Third, walk along the right side of the map, you'll find a hole with a button inside. This will give you another gear. Adding the two titles of the gear together, it will bring up this image on Imgur. This is the combination of the carpet. In the description of the image, it reads this. You are a visitor. You can only come through these corridors of flesh once. Remember this, stranger. This signifies that after we are done playing this game, we can't play it again. When you put in the combination, make sure the basket is to the right. I don't know what idiot would fall for that. After doing this, pillars will appear and give you a bridge to the monument in the middle of the water. It will ask a question. The road to hell is paved with blank. Thinking back to Snowball Brawl 1, the answer is bites. After doing this, it will play a cutscene that shows a house that we've seen before in Homesick. After that, it takes you back to Sail the High Seas, bringing us to the next subgame of Sail the High Seas. Like before, the game is still dark, but there are some differences from last time. You can see broken boats, gray palm trees, and glitchy music. But if you make your way to this island, there is another camouflage button that does this. Oh my god, that's another door. It spawns another portal. Going inside, it takes you to this yellowish area. Saying the word telepathy will open this door. After doing some parkour, it will lead you to this ledge. Standing on it, if you say Jake, the bridge to the other side will appear. If you follow this bridge to a tower in the distance and make your way up it, going on the roof of the tower, it will give you another YouTube video ID, this video called Convergence. This video is really long, at a runtime at 7.5 minutes. This is another recording from Rebecca. It seems to be the same as the last video, with Sean trying to get the attention of Rebecca. This time, he does. Rebecca, thinking it's Jake, says, "What the heck, Jake? It's 3 a.m. Sean responds with, "I wish there was a better time." Rebecca asks why his username is Sean, but Sean says, "It's me." Thinking back, when Clyde called Jake about this conversation, Jake had no idea what happened, so this isn't Jake. It's Sean. Rebecca, being angry, says, "I'm gonna punch you in the mouth if this is another prank." I can't go over everything in this video, but I will summarize it. Sean spends the rest of the video attempting to convince Rebecca that it's actually him, saying things that only the two of them would know. For example, a place named Patty's, which was a spot next to campus. This confirms that Rebecca and Sean were really close in real life. The video constantly glitches out, which is super weird. Rebecca asks one last question to prove that he's Sean. "If you're Sean, what lab were we in?" Sean responds with 312. I guess this is right based on Rebecca's reaction. Rebecca wonders how she's talking to Sean because he's dead. We saw that on the gravestone. The video ends with this line by Sean. "Please know that I have never forgotten. As long as I am here, I won't." After that, that's the end of the video. Going back, you can make your way to this church. At first, there doesn't seem to be anything wrong with it, but it's hiding something. To find what it's hiding, you must first find a button, which is behind the tower that we were at before. After clicking it, it reveals a basement. In said basement, there are 3 pictures, with 1 broken up. I guess the 2 standing are Rebecca and Clyde, and the broken one is Jake. Behind the images is another YouTube video ID. This video is called Death Be Not Proud. This video starts off differently than the rest. It's Sean praying to God and saying to answer his calls. Sean is saying he's trapped and he cannot get out. He wonders what he's done to deserve this punishment. Sean also says that he's sorry for attempting to take his own life and admitting that it's selfish. He prays to God that he'll get the opportunity to talk to Clyde and Rebecca again. From the footage that you can see, he's trying his very best. The video ends with Sean saying, "I'm so afraid of being alone." Looking at the church again, above the hole in the back, you can see a logo of some sort. This doesn't matter. What does matter are the dots on the side. Some are orange and some are purple. These dots align perfectly with the torches in the church. Lighting them up in this order, the bell lowers. After clicking it, something appears at the top of the hill. Going into the structure, it reads above, groupname.nil. After saying something, this happens. Whoa! Whoa! Get me out of here, dude! It spawns you in a foggy area. We can get in a boat, but the only way to go is forward. Sean begins to speak with us. You see how maddening this could be? Alone, lost, afraid. I would have trusted Jake in my previous life with everything, but he's dug up my grave and created a channel to show off my corpse. The false tale of a far-gone uncle under a false identity of a long-forgotten friend. You're just a bystander caught up in the web of lies. Exit the game while you can, and don't come back. The line that stands out the most here is, a false tale of a far-gone uncle under a false identity of a long-forgotten friend. This line suggests that Jake lied about the whole uncle thing. So now I'm thinking, why did Jake lie to us? To get more people to play his game? To get more viewers on the channel? Nobody knows. We'll most likely find this out in the future. The only way to progress is to rejoin the game. You spawn in a huge tower. Your only goal is to scale it. That's it. Once you're at the top, you could jump down the hole and you get sent to the next area. The next area takes place in the house. After a minute, the phone begins to play a voicemail. The voice speaking doesn't sound like Jake at all, so it's someone else. Here's the voicemail.
Darkness. That's all I ever knew for a number of years. Pure darkness. And the unfeeling skin which hath now set itself as my body. But then I woke up, like if it was all just a passing nightmare. I woke up in snow, and everything I could feel screamed in sharp needles of pain. Yet, nothing came out of my mouth. I was flailing around like a child, unable to walk or even crawl. I had been reborn, but I had retained memories of my previous life. I could barely even acknowledge them because of how blurry everything felt. It happened again, but this time I woke up on a ship I was dreaming about, reenacting a distant memory of a video. All this time I was confused, afraid, and angry. I'm only not confused anymore.
To continue with this game, you first have to grab this beanie, then do a bunch of laps around the house. Then another voicemail will play.
I got along with Rebecca quite well. After all, we were dealing with conditions we couldn't control. Mine was epilepsy, and Rebecca's was being on the spectrum of schizophrenia. I can't remember the specific diagnosis for the both of us, but it was something that connected us. Felt safe around her and two other people in our little clique. The only other person I felt safe around was my mother. I was very anxious and still am. That heavily affected me though, as I would frequently space out and sometimes even get severe panic attacks that felt like seizures. Of course, the thing I pursued the most, computers and tinkering with electronics, also caused me the most headaches and pain. With my medication it was manageable, but we could barely afford it. As most tech ventures go, I was only experimenting with this program so I could have the possibility of not worrying about money. I guess Silicon Valley wasn't for me.
After more changes occur, you can grab this trophy on the shelf. This triggers the second floor of the house. It contains 4 rooms. Eventually, you can hear someone crying. Entering one of the bedrooms, there is black stuff around the bed. Here, you can pick up a teddy bear. In another bedroom, you can pick up a hammer. Once you do so, the phone will go off again.
When I had gained the ability to dream, I kept dreaming about an icon. And it would often end in nightmares. I feel like different parts of myself are being split between code, and I keep losing track of who I really am. It's gotten better recently. I've been able to keep some thoughts in line, but I often end up in fights with myself. This icon of thorns, a snake that eats itself. The icon which encompasses my botched reincarnation and my failed attempts to terminate this life. Jay keeps a part of me alive, but I'm not sure if my little empathy I have left for him can be utilized. We all put a part of ourselves in our creations to the point where the creation becomes a phantom limb that only the audience sees. Jake's YouTube channel gathers a certain type of audience that often creates their own stories from what little is shown, And with how things are now, what's real on the internet sometimes manifests into reality. And Jake has expectations to live up to. And then, of course, you. What exactly are you doing here? What are you expecting from me? I told you to leave. But of course you just don't listen. Yeah, well, you want more, right? This isn't enough for you? Then go shatter the mirror.
We found out that the person speaking to us is Sean. He tells us to break the mirror in the bathroom, which we do. It scared the shit out of me. Going in, we get into this creepy basement of some sort. We'll eventually go down this hallway and it gets smaller and smaller. It spreads off into 2 different areas with 2 different codes. The one on the right can be solved with the code 421 and the one on the left can be solved like this. After doing this, on the complete opposite end of the small hallway, another one opens. We come across a red door that we can open. We then get to meet Sean face to face. Here's what he says. He pretty much talks about how he doesn't want us here, how he's stuck, and most notably, you haven't walked straight into the mouth of a beast. After all, you're inside my nightmares. The game kicks us, giving us another YouTube video ID, and that's everything that Seil the High Seas has to offer. The video starts with Sean getting up. He looks at somebody on a computer with their face blurred out. Somebody else suddenly appears. They begin to speak. Your past life constantly lays in front of you, but yet we still call it the past. You again. The person then speaks again. You say it like I haven't been with you this entire time. You're my shame. The shame, the humility, the primitive body that you've left behind. I am the medulla, the dull nerves, and the memories. I still don't know what your deal is. Justice, anger, whatever you want to call it. I simply want retribution for the true cause of your current life. I'm just tired of everything. I want it to be over. There is no over. The void you've experienced wasn't heaven or hell or purgatory. This is purgatory. Your body, soul, and mind will never be at rest again until you take revenge. It then reveals a knife. I am the force that bends the grasses. You want eye for an eye? Eye for an eye. The phrase, "and the world will learn the blindness you endured," shows up for a frame, and that's the end of the video. This video is probably his final transformation to the thing that we see him today. Maybe this video takes place right after Genesis, Genesis being the first book of the Bible, which could mean that this is the beginning of something. The stabbing of an eye or an eye for an eye could mean that he died something involving an eye, like a seizure or something. Or Sean actually stabbed himself in the eye in real life. But who knows? Let's move on. The video begins with FPS gameplay. Wow, this is so cool. Someone stabbed himself in the last video. The video cuts to a house. Wait. Why are they in Facelol's house? Okay, so this is news to me. Seildirectory and I Has a Facelol's take place in the same universe. See? There he is right there. The rest of the video is just them chatting about what's going on with Facelol's. After that, that's the end of this entry. This video seems to be more about Facelol's than Seildirectory, which is kind of weird. Another thing to mention is another account that joined Roblox, the Crimson Blade 2. Crimson's only friend is directory user 2, which is Rebecca. So I guess this is Rebecca. After that, that's all for this video. Those are all the entries on the channel, but Rebecca, directory user 2, has her own Tumblr page. It has many interesting posts explaining a lot of the things that we've been wondering. Here are some important stuff that I found. Rebecca says that she created the Roblox account because she was intimidated to use the directory account, most likely because of what happened in the convergence video. Rebecca mentions that she played Homesick, and the ending freaked her out. Somebody asks the question if she's seen Jake recently. She replies that she moved away 2 years ago, but she might call him up eventually. A user asked about the memory capture entry. She confirms that 1. Jake is JKC Spartan, and 2. Beats might be Sean. Rebecca decides to play Seil the High Seas, and Sean finds her again. Somehow Sean knew that this was Rebecca. After that, that's all the vital info that I got from the Tumblr page. Wow, this ARG is long. There is so much information on this channel that it's difficult to keep track of, but honestly, it has some of the coolest things I have ever seen. This ARG still has information being added. Make sure you pay attention to the games as well as the accounts connected to Seildirectory. As I was making this video, Jake has made another YouTube channel. Be sure to check this one out as well. Jake made this channel to obtain something. He planned to obtain the history of his quote-unquote uncle's activity on Roblox. There were signs from the beginning, but Jake then finds out the hard way that in order to obtain something, equal must be lost.